And welcome back to New Realities. This is part 2 of a fantastic summit that we're talking about, which is the Alchemy of Ascension that Washela Sananda has put together. And we have, again, some beautiful, beautiful people here to share their wisdom. And thank you, Washela, for being here. And why don't you introduce people and tell people, if they're just tuning in now, what the theme of your conference and why people are here and what we're going to talk about today. It's nice to see some old friends here, Rebecca, Celestine. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Tell people.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Okay, so this is all about the Alchemy of Ascension Season 5, which our theme is activating star seeds, walk-ins, and the new human of the golden age. It's a free summit, and everyone here on the panel, this is our second panel of the day, but everyone here has an interview in the summit, and it's an email summit. So the way to receive it, it's totally free, but you have to register. And that is at washelasananda.com/AOA5, the number 5. And hopefully we'll have that in the show notes so you can click on it and easily get there. But yeah, I'm excited for this next round. The first one was amazing, so be sure to watch that as well. And I will just introduce who we have here as they appear on my screen. So we have Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright. She talks about exo-consciousness. We had a fascinating interview. Well, all of them were, so I don't need to say that about everyone because they really have all been amazing. We have Celestine Star, delightful, just, oh my gosh, you're so full of information. I don't even know where to start. Sarian, Michael White, and we just did a Facebook Live yesterday. That was really fun. Dalisa Hawking, and she's a medium and full of wonderful information. And we have Marilyn Harper and Joy Roby. They are both walk-ins, so that was really interesting to learn more about their experience, as well as Adiranda, who they channel, and of course Neil Gar, who has Portal to Ascension, and he was with us on the last panel as well. So,
yeah. And Neil co-sponsors these programs with me, and yeah, it's great. It's great to see Marilyn again. I interviewed her a while back. So, yeah, on the last show, we just threw out a bunch of questions and ideas that kind of just took off. But where do you want to bring people here, Washela, on this program?
Yeah, well, so for starters, I think to give everyone a couple of minutes to just introduce who you are and what your work is about. And then we'll go into some actual questions for the panel questions.
Great. So you call on the people you want to.
Okay, I'm just going to go in the order of my screen. Rebecca, you're first up, so go ahead.
I just want to say something about Rebecca. She has worked so hard in bringing the idea of exo-consciousness to the world, what that means, just transcend our limited humanity, go to where we are infinite and expanded and part of this amazing creation of the universe. She has single-handedly coined that term, exo-consciousness. Her book is Exo-Consciousness, and she's been a friend and one of my favorite speakers on the subject. Thanks, Rebecca, for being here. So go ahead. Yes, you can unmute. Unmute. We don't want to miss anything. Yes.
I don't need to say anything.
Thanks.
Thank you, Washela and Neil and Alan. It's great to see everyone, and I appreciate Washela especially reaching out to me and to speak about exo-consciousness, which is we define as the innate human ability. So all humans have it, that everyone here has been speaking about, to connect, communicate, and co-create with extraterrestrials and multidimensionals. And much of my work now is around developing something called exoconscious humans, and that's my most recent book. And it's really juxtaposing an engineered human or a transhuman with an exoconscious human, what that means, and what we need to be about to bring that forward. And I'll answer the questions, but I just want to thank.
No, I just want to say, oh, sorry if I didn't interrupt your thanks, but what does it mean to be an exo-conscious human? What does that mean to you? to us?
Really, I think what it means is to be able to step outside of all of the genetic and geo and social engineering that's happening today on the planet, and become a sovereign moral human being, and allow your physical body, importantly, your physical body, to actually become something that you know is within you that has never been able to be expressed. And that means psychic intelligence, that means psychic abilities, that means a different form of creativity in terms of intentional and conscious co-creation with extraterrestrials and multidimensionals. That means building an exoconscious civilization, co-creating it. That means seeing ourselves as cosmic beings.
Thank you. That's great. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, Shayla, who else?
Thank you, Rebecca. Yes, next we have Celestine Star. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I'd love to have you introduce yourself and your work.
I just want to say Celestine is another one of my old friends and is bringing amazing wisdom of her ET connections to the planet, and really is a force for ascension here on the planet. So thanks, Celestine. Okay.
Oh, well, I just want to praise Waxella for you putting this together. This is just phenomenal. I've sent so many people to the site, and thank you, Neil Gar, and of course my Alan, love you forever. So I am Celestine Aisha Star. I'm here to assist in the raising of consciousness, the elevation of consciousness on the planet. And since the time I was born, learning all the metaphysics and being prepared step by step near death, working directly with the interstellar relations. That's been the thread leading through my way. So I'm an experiencer. I founded the group Galactic Earth Council in 2010, although I had been working with people in Skywatch and connecting to our stellar relations for about 40 years. The Galactic Earth Council, we've been now 11 years together, and watching people grow, watching people open their consciousness. I take people back to the first time they came to Earth so that they may understand the complexities of their contracts, agreements, and eventually come face to face with their divinity. So we teach the way through and to the gateway. I call it the gateless gate. We share with people the secrets of the hidden secrets of the universe, so that they will know how to be more present and how to manifest their lives in beauty and greatness. I'm a transformative healer, coach, and grandmother. So I carry the great wisdom of the great universe, and I'm in contact with the high spiritual council, and they say, glory in the light of the radiant one. Blessings to you all, and I'm just here to share the great galactic wisdom as we become a galactic planet again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Celestine. Okay, so next we have Sarian Michael White, and Sarian is an incredible starseed with a channel, so many things. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited about being here and being a part of the program. Wow, I don't even know where to begin. With an audience like this, I feel like there's such expansive possibilities of new realities to explore. I would say that my work right now is very connected with introducing people to their spiritual guides in a personal way. So that can extend to extraterrestrial guides, angels, ascended masters, and really we had all kinds of different beings turning up in the kinds of channeled readings that I do. But in terms of contact, since that's a really big theme, the starseed aspect of what we are integrating, I have had very extensive experience with ET contact throughout my whole life. Have been taken aboard physical craft before, have been in close proximity to ships, both physical, etheric, communicated telepathically with the beings inside. And quite a lot of that has unfolded in the out-of-body state as well. So I will go into an out-of-body state and go hang out with my guides, and sometimes I'll find myself even being channeled in a way by extraterrestrial guides and colleagues of mine, where it's like I will show up in their body and they will show me things inside their ships from their perspective through their own perception and their own bodies. So there's a really extensive kind of experience of the galactic community that we are interfacing with that has given me a lot of insight and discernment about what's going on, what's showing up in the field of the earth, what we need to be discerning about and careful about as we continue to open our inner senses into all of these different connections and influences within the galactic community. It's just an exciting path to be on, to help people navigate this and to be an open conduit to continually receive new teachings about it. So that's me.
Thank you. Thank you, Saryon. That was wonderful. Okay, next we have the dynamic duo, Joy Roby and Marilyn Harper. And actually it's a trio because I think Adirondha is ever present as well. But I would love for you both to take some time to introduce yourselves. You're on mute, so.
Hello. It's so nice to be here with each of you. We are, as Washayla said, thank you, Washayla, and thank you, Alan. It's great to see you again. I think it was maybe a year ago in January that we connected on one of the other walking conferences. Yes. So that was Chiron. Yeah, absolutely. And what we do, I'm a channel for Adirondha and Company, and they are multidimensional beings. I also teach people how to channel, and we kind of before COVID, BC, we traveled the world over doing all kinds of things.
We have a pretty, at least we think so, pretty fascinating story about being walk-ins and not knowing each other, being from completely different places in the country, and having Adirondha handpick us to work together. I'm a business coach, a spiritual business coach, and Marilyn and I are also business partners. And Adirondha brought me together with Marilyn to help her get the messages of Adirondha out throughout the planet, and has gone on to now representing Cryon and other spiritual speakers, just utilizing technology. And also I love listening to all of you. It's really interesting to me. Our message is actually pretty simple. Adirondha is a very 5 words make a sentence, be here now kind of person. So it's fascinating to listen to you.
So it is wonderful. And what we really acknowledge in this frequency is that we are all multidimensional beings, and we all have guides and angels and beings from other dimensions that are not in physical form that communicate with each of us. And yet, according to Adirondha, and you're here right now. So what are you going to do about that? And they're definitely a very down to earth, very conscious, informational channel, although I'm a trance channel. And so I don't remember what necessarily was said, which is why it was great to bring joy into the nature. And now we do broadcasts on 2 times a month on Sunday nights. We do a double-digit broadcast every month on the double digit of the month, and we have a workshop. Everything is possible. That happens twice a year, and how to channel even if you think you can't.
And spiritual happy hour.
And spiritual happy hour. So we're following the guidance, and we're really busy.
Wow.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you. And we didn't talk to Delisa?
Delisa Hawking, she's a medium. Go ahead, Delisa.
Thank you. I mean, what an amazing group we have here today. I'm excited to be a part of it. Thank you for having me. I'm a 5th generation psychic medium, And before BC, I guess, I was headlining a show in Las Vegas and doing readings. And my goal, my mission is to inspire people to live at their highest frequency. I believe that everyone has the ability, even though I'm 5th generation, everyone has the ability to do what I do and can access that higher consciousness and that power. And often during sessions, I do have galactic beings that step in as energy to help provide information, whether that's psychic or mediumship. I also do channeling and don't remember most of it afterwards. And I'm just delighted to be here today and to be involved in the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for being here too. And Neil, are you? I just want to say, bring Neil on too. But isn't it interesting? Like this panel is much more ET kind of related, multi-dimensional. The last one was just kind of just more Ascension based, which is fine. But I love the ET stuff. I wrote a book about that. And Neil, what do you say about like this grouping? Yeah.
Did you guys plan this out in that way, or did it just happen to
ask you that? Yeah.
You know what? It was pretty organic. I did try and put people that were on the West Coast in the later group. That might not be across the board, but it was somewhat organic, and it just kind of flowed that way. But I wasn't intentionally doing that.
That's what I figured. It just always works out the way it's supposed to. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this group here. And I guess I don't really want to, I'll just tell people that I am the founder of Portal to Ascension. You can check it out, portaltoascension.org. But instead of explaining about what I do, could I just share a poem that's about multidimensional energy?
Yeah, I'd love Neil. It's always good to have a little poetry and art and creativity here. So Neil Gore, Portal to Ascension, spiritual rap songs.
So this is called Empower Thyself. The moment draws near. For years, we've been purging all fears, letting go of the old energies, making room for the new frequencies. I know we all feel these on some level. Higher multidimensional entities, embracing our galactic families, emissaries of unconditional love. The one vibration that fits all creation like a glove. I know sometimes this incarnation, it can seem tough, with masons illuminating manipulations, facing, tasting, wasting our life away. We must remember the lessons that we're here to play. We chose to be here today. Nothing external to you, to your God self. You pray. There's only one speck of light, experiencing itself in multiple forms within our sight, taking us to new heights. So go against the norm, no longer conform. When one transitions, there's no reason to mourn. Don't scorn, take out the thorn. The crystalline children are now being born. There is no devil waiting for you with horns. There is only love. The vibration showering us descended straight from densities above. We must stand up and say enough and take our power back. With peace and understanding, there's no reason to attack and energize fear, as they are reflections of us. It's time to trust our brothers and sisters. This is all a self-imposed test. So don't worry, you got the job. Put your concerns to rest. Through the darkness, the light will firmly nest into the dimension that is next. The moment is now to resurrect the Christ consciousness. The moment is now to resurrect the Christ consciousness.
Thank you. I think that's a good reminder. Beautiful. Neil, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one before.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. Do you want me to go into asking questions?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please. Were you crying, John X? What, you were wiping
Joy.
your...
It's Joy.
Joy, sorry. Joy, looked like you were wiping your eyes because you were... Okay. Anyway, yeah, please, Waxella. Yeah, go ahead. I'll spot.
Yeah, so that was beautiful. Thank you, Neil. I loved that. And as you were speaking, it was really interesting. I was hearing in my mind a question that a lot of people have been asking about to me lately is, what do I do about the fear? Whether it's fear of conscious contact with ET or extra dimensionals, fear of truly stepping into my power, fear of what's happening in the world. And then you said you actually named it as that question was coming into me. And I feel like that would be a great panel question. And we all have our different ways of communicating and going about that. But everybody here, I believe, has conquered or become courageous in the face of fear in some way in your own life. So the true question really here is, how do you alchemize that fear into something productive, into service, and into your mission in this work that you do? And if someone wants to start, I'll kind of let me know, and we'll go around the circle and let everyone have a chance to answer that.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and it's practical too. So yeah, you can just call on someone. They're here to speak, so
Yeah.
they're not being shy.
Rebecca, I see you unmuted. Did you want to speak?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I think it's something that all of us have dealt with. And I just want to say thanks for that poem, Neil, again. I don't know if on this 3D Earth plane, if fear is ever going to be totally gone. And I think that's one of the realistic things that all of us as humans need to acknowledge, that it's part of our central nervous system, it's part of our biology, it's part of our consciousness. And the best we can do, I think, as long as we're in these 3D bodies, is to actually use it to propel ourselves forward as kind of a launching pad. So instead of seeing it as kind of a bomb bunker that, someone's coming at me, we can change it to, oh, this is my fear. This is my launching pad that I need to use to go forward. And those are just some of the things that I do in my exoconscious coaching to help ground people, that they can actually stand on that propellant of something that they've labeled as negative and allow it to take them forward.
Great. Thank you for that. Yeah, it really can be that, I know, that propellant and that catalyst for change, and leaning into fear for me has been a big thing that I've learned over, many years of being contacted, and many of those earlier years especially, it was terrifying until I learned, how to lean into it with love. And then what showed up really shifted and changed for me. And yeah, thank you. Delisa?
Yes. About a year ago, I started channeling in a lot of information about the fork kind of splitting with frequencies. And they started using, my spirit team, I refer to them as, started using the terms prisoner and pioneer, and reminder that you can only be in faith or in fear at any one time. At least that's what they were sharing with me and what I believe to be true. And so I encourage people to make space for all of it. And I love what Rebecca and what Shayla were just saying. I don't think we have to say, oh, we have to get rid of that in order to be this. I think we can allow our hearts and our consciousness to be open enough to embrace all of it. And I think meditation and journaling and a lot of different tools, I'm sure the panelists are aware of, that we can lean into that so that we don't have to stay in a frequency of fear, but instead acknowledge it and get clear as to why we may be fearing that, but also to be trusting our intuition more deeply, because we all have access to that. And if we're trusting ourselves enough, I think that helps to alleviate some of the fears that may be in the 3D.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And practical. Celestine, do you want to weigh in on that question?
Let me take a breath into this. It's really a powerful question. So I would like to first say that through my own life, I have felt the fear of the unknown. And I brought it into that place where the absolute fear is the fear of dying. And that, you could fear that you're harmed, but to fear that you will be taken out is ultimate. And so I worked through that process. It was really, I'm really grateful I had a near-death experience. I don't really have a fear of dying anymore. And I realized we're here for eternity. And one of the tools that has been used to control a lot of the human psyche that I have experienced and watched through the news and is to be afraid that something's happening. So we're always on edge, always worried. But for me, I can say to you that the opposite of fear is power, and power is wisdom. And so I would say to somebody to really recognize, if you are afraid, take a moment and write down, what are you afraid of? So there's the fear that something can happen to us. There's the fear that a force will come in. If I expand myself spiritually, will I run into these other forces that are not beneficial in the world and would try to possess me or control me? These are absolute true fear. And I work with a lot of people through trauma, and I've worked with people who have had spirit possession. But what I've boiled it down to, what I've recognized, is that you have to give them permission. So when I'm working with someone and maybe they have a sabotager, there's a pattern of pushing people away, it comes down to, maybe as a young child, they called upon something to help them. I know I did. I was in an unsafe environment as a child, and I called upon a being to come help me, but I didn't discern what kind of being. And later I had to find within myself that I had that agreement, and I released the agreement, and immediately the being had to go. That part that I thought was my personality had to go. And so I've spent a lot of time working with people who delve into magic with a K, who delve into spiritism, and they run into this sort of thing. I do know that coming face to face with a being with reverse consciousness, in the heart of that being is the diamond light, without exception. And the diamond light is the connection to the source. We're all created by the source. There's a purpose. And if I connect my consciousness to the diamond heart of that being, there is no differentiation. There's no war. There's no struggle. And if I command myself and I tell this being that they can do no harm and they must be on their way, but I'm talking into the heart from the place of my divinity or my God self. It is so. There is no, they will bow to that every time. So this is something that you learn through practice, or you have somebody to work with you. All of us, it takes that utilization of your stepping into the power, stepping in from the heart. I am, and I am, and connecting to, as Washela said, love. Also connecting into your divinity, connecting into that part of you that has the right, because a part of you is the spark of the creation. So rising up the frequency is another way that you can dispel fear. If you feel, and I want to say, I want to take an example of being in the field and an immortal appeared to me. It was kind of the first time. I wasn't really ready. And as this being morphed into the field, and it was a man, it was Tai Li Po, I was just shaking. My body was shaking uncontrollably, though they waited until I was settled back in and realized I wasn't going to be harmed. I was in a state of fear, my body involuntarily. So what is for each of us is to discover through our walk your individuality, and raising your frequency is one way of holding the space above that which is the lower nature of consciousness. And so we could talk more about that, but that's just a little peek in there. So thank you.
Thank you, Celestine. That was beautiful. Okay, we could go and see anyone unmuting. Sarian, I know you have a very special story around this, and I'd love for you to share from that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I wanted to first say that there's a new kind of experience that has been working its way into my own journey to master life, master myself, master challenging experiences. And it is the experience of expanding into greater love in the face of adversity. So I would say that's the exact opposite of contracting in fear. If we contract in fear, sometimes that can lead to more ego-based forms of protection. It can lead to aggression. It can lead to all kinds of defense mechanisms. But there's this other experience of greater mastery where in the face of adversity, you just expand into greater love. It's like your heart actually grows immediately through the experience of the adversity, and you end up having greater compassion for self, greater compassion for all beings involved in what you're going through. And I remember the distinct difference that I noticed when I started to have a love-based reaction that trumped the normal fear-based reactions that we all experience and that have been going on my whole life and that are just part of the subconscious mind. And it gave me a new doorway to go through. It's like once that doorway started to open, then it became a choice. And I remember there was a point where it wasn't a choice, but eventually it got established as a choice that I could contract in fear or I could expand into greater love. And now it's about just getting stronger in making the other choice. And eventually we get strong enough in making the other choice and wise enough in making the other choice that it starts to become a form of mastery. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm at that level yet, that I have mastered it, but I am noticing the moments when I do overcome the old mechanisms. And it's like sometimes you have to really, really fight against it. Sometimes the fear reaction is bigger initially, but then you have to do transmutation work. You've got to work through it. Now, something interesting that comes about when it comes to, like if you're having an experience psychically or empathically or as a channel where you might interface with something dark or intense or controlling, or there's a psychic attack involved, a lot of the experiences that I've had with that have directly led to the discovery of some source of inner strength that I didn't know was there, but once I found my focus on it, it became a part of me. Like, for example, there was a kind of a psychic attack that started coming in from a particular group of ETs that were very mental. And I was trying to figure out how do I buffer the energy here so I can figure out how to deal with this, so I can strengthen my own field enough to be able to meet these energies, which were significantly stronger than me at the time. And I started going within and looking for where is there support. And in that particular instance, there was a group of dolphins that showed up, and there was this whole field of dolphin consciousness that enveloped me. And I was seeing, oh, that is a source of strength and empowerment that was sourcing my sovereignty as a channel and strengthening me so that I could then interface with these beings in a different way. And I've also found that when I've had to undergo these kinds of intense experiences with beings that, there was kind of a clash energetically, I was always able to do something to balance the field between me and them until the field became more equalized and we were able to talk to each other and have a mutual acknowledgement of oneness. Sometimes it was very difficult, but there was always angelic support, and there was always a process of treating myself as an equal and then treating the other beings as an equal. And once the field of equality was established, it created balance, and that allowed shifts to occur, fear to be transmuted. Whenever fear is present, often it's because of an imbalance. One is behaving as if they are superior to the other, and that can trigger fear. But when you come from a place of equality with all beings, great and small, size matters not, then that immediately begins to transmute and dial down the fear factor that anyone can be experiencing. So I find that holding equality is a really powerful tool, and it's what I would call a 1-1 vibration. When you're holding a 1-1 vibration, you're holding that I am one and you are one, and we are both equally one with each other and equally one with Source. And that really does the trick every time.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, I love what you said. So Joy, Joy and Marilyn and Adironda, I specifically would love to know, Marilyn, you're a trance channel. Were you ever fearful of that, of the not remembering?
Yes. Yes, I was quite fearful in the beginning. And it has been a journey, especially in the beginning, because this was not a part of my belief system. It was not a part of my programming. I was as normal could be, deacon in the Christian church and selling advertising for a country western radio station. I'm from Missouri, grew up in Kansas. Channels don't come from there. But in the beginning, the energy of Adironda was so completely loving. And that is why they came here, is to help the world feel what it feels like to be held in total and complete unconditional love or infinite love. And so the energy was so completely loving that I had to acknowledge that. And they say that there's not two things any longer. There's not love and fear, that people always say that there's two things, but there's only one right now, and that's love. And anything that is not love is represented as fear, which is not truly a part of yourself. And that they remind us that you are the light, and that only the light can stand within the light. And so that energy is not what I felt in the beginning. I guarantee, because it was like Adironda, you've encountered Adironda, they are a really big energy. And I had no idea what was happening, even though I volunteered for that situation. I volunteered to be a channel. I didn't realize that when I said I would go anywhere, do anything, say anything, as long as you could prove to me that you're God or Source moving through me, I didn't realize that that's what I was volunteering for. But it certainly has shifted my consciousness and pretty much everybody that we've come in contact with in dealing with the fear and the feeling of not being enough, the fear of not being able to do the job or have the position that you're here to do. And every walk-in comes in with a burning desire to shift the consciousness of the planet. That's one of the consistencies throughout all walk-ins, even though we're not all alike. But that is one of the ways that they handle that is that once you step beyond fear or shed those old programs that carry the frequency of fear, then you can simply be your light.
Yeah, it's interesting because Adironda is such a loving being, and I had nothing to do with any of this stuff until I walked in 12 years ago, and which was 10 years, I think, after you had walked in. Marilyn, as I said,
after I started channeling.
Yeah, we didn't know each other. I didn't even know what channeling was when I encountered Adironda. I didn't know what was happening. And But I can tell you this, that they're such a loving energy, and they're constantly reminding us that our beliefs are our reality. Everything we see in our world is coming from our belief system. And when I met Marilyn, after a few times that I encountered her, the point of no return for me was, and working with Marilyn, was when I watched Adironda in this body. So I know both Marilyn and Adironda quite well. But when I watched Adironda tell somebody during a group session, I think for the first time, this person had ever had anyone say, I love you, from just this unconditional, and now they say infinite love. They don't say unconditional, Adironda doesn't, place. It touched me so deeply that I left my corporate position and I started working with Marilyn. I felt like this was so necessary for our planet to understand how much control they actually do have in this world and how everything is love.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, beautiful. That was great. No, maybe we'll get back to you though, and you can channel something through later, okay, Marilyn?
Sure,
And,
absolutely. They're always ready.
and Joy, do you channel too, Joy?
I believe everyone's a channel. Mine doesn't show up the way as Adironda does, but I believe we're all channels.
Oh, great. Well, I think so too. Thanks for being here. Okay, Washela, back to you.
Okay, sure. Thank you for everybody for all of your answers. And I think, this is a question that I asked on the first panel, but it's really relevant. And this is what the Alchemy of Ascension Season 5 is all about: activating star seeds, activating our our special gifts, our innate gifts. And this isn't only for star seeds, but whether you're identifying as star seed or walk-in or new human, or you're just awakening and that you have intuition or you have gifts, how can each of you, I'd love to hear, do you have special ways to assist people in activating their special gifts, their special powers? Every single one of us has our own unique purpose and abilities. And I've seen some amazing gifts manifesting in all of you and, everybody on the Alchemy of Ascension Summit. And so many people are activating and turning on. So if you could give it could be something practical or something contemplative, but how do we as awakening beings, awakening new humans, activate our spiritual gifts and our purpose to a higher level? And if you want to start, I love it if you just unmute, or Delisa, you're already unmuted. You want to go first?
Yes,
Great.
please.
Go ahead.
I believe that we need to raise our frequency higher. And there's a variety of ways that we can do that. Some of them: rest, right? Drinking enough water, moving your physical body, stating affirmations that you actually believe. So there's different techniques that you can do to raise the frequency. But I see it, and I've been shown clairvoyantly, that it's like the scale of energy. And so the more that we can raise our frequency higher, the more information we will get from spirit, angels, galactic beings. So for me, it's more of a frequency scale. And I do have a community that is studying with me to learn to be psychic, but then they practice with each other. Because I'm often asked, well, how do I know if it's real information coming forward? How do I know if it's just me, or am I actually hearing a higher being of consciousness? And I think one of the things that we have to do is practice with each other, bringing that information forward in a safe environment, but then actually saying it out loud so that we can get confirmation, so that we can start to notice the subtleties in the energy, because energy feels differently, whether for me, if it's an angel coming forward to speak, or a galactic being, or a loved one who's passed away. The energies have their own fingerprints and they all feel slightly different. So practice seems to be one of the best ways to anchor in that gift within yourself.
Thank you. Yes. Fake it till you make it, right? And I find that too, the more you practice, the more, whether it's channeling or, any of these gifts, you don't necessarily trust it right away. So it's the more you do it, the easier it gets. And then that you can get into that flow state and have more trust. Thank you. Thank you, Delisa.
Oh, I just want to say, I guess we lost Rebecca. She had to go, but I like the whole themes of the show that we're talking about. Yeah, so go ahead, please, Rochelle. It's like, yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's continue. Celestine, would you like to share with how do you tell people or help people activate?
Beautiful. Thank you, Ashela. So I want to just begin by letting each of us know that we are created by the Radiant One. And this teaching is coming down from the High Spiritual Council. I was a trance medium for about 20 years, and that is going out of the body. And I would channel Meso, Keeper of the Books, and Chiron and Metatron. But when I came in contact with the High Spiritual Council, this stayed with me. So each of us, if you think of your name, you are a monadic vibrational frequency. And this frequency will last all time. It is indestructible. So when the Creator brought you forth as an idea into the world and monad, then what you have is a purpose and a function. And we've heard on this panel people talking about individuality and who we are, but to go deeper into what is your purpose, what is your created purpose and your function and your quality. With the Egyptian background, a lot of their teachings connect to your quality and function and your purpose. To know that is to know the walk. Now we have will, we have our own will, and with that will, we can change our path. We have 360 degrees. We can change and go down this pathway or this. And so we often find ourselves down a pathway and we go, oh my gosh, it's not who I am. But we can always come back to that center space of your name and yourself as an idea. So I want to put that out. I help people to do that. One of the most powerful is, again, they've given me this encoded transmission to take people back to the first time they came to Earth. And we call it the GO session or the Galactic Origin session. So imagine, and we've done thousands, for the last 10, 11 years. Imagine that you are connected to your primal awareness. And this is another tool to understand. You have a consciousness that's connected to the whole creation. And so I help people to connect with their primal awareness, which gives you instant information. It gives you information that has no bounds, no time and space. And we create your Merkaba, your vehicle light, you travel back to that time frame, and you receive the data about who you are. Why did you come to Earth? And many people see themselves in different forms. And so you get to realize, are you by yourself? Are you a traveler? Did you come to imprint the Earth with codes, beings of light? There's also people who were asteroids. They just broke off and came to Earth, but they brought with them information that is in the Earth. And by understanding your contract and your mission, then we take you back to where you came from. Now you may have a certain form, be it humanoid or reptilian or whatever it may be, but usually when they go off and go back to where they came from, they enter the field of light and sound, and they recognize their divinity. That's the most powerful. So to understand that and bring it back into the present time is another way we do this. I guide people to immerse yourself in harmonic frequencies. On YouTube, they have the 432 hertz, they have the 28 hertz. A lot of the frequencies, and I placed on YouTube the 10 sacred frequencies that you can work with that move you through different modulations. And as you feel, you can look up the 10 sacred frequencies. As you feel it move through your body, you can feel the resonance of yourself and opening of chakras, letting go of negativities. So that is another way of working with the frequencies and discovering through this, when you open yourself to these higher frequencies, you begin a process most people do of dream time. They start recognizing who they are. It's instinctive. You feel more comfortable in your body. You begin to heal yourself. The knowing opens up. There's a part of us which we call the knowing, which is the embodiment. It's the actual substance that the universe is made of, and is the knowing, because nothing can be created without the knowing. So as you come to center within yourself and work with different frequencies, these frequencies we talk about, they call it the Sophiglio, but actually it's a universal frequencies. The knowing begins to come in. If you work with a practitioner, and I help people to do that, it starts coming in, and you recognize, what are you passionate about? The passion also gives you the wisdom of your gift, and you, as you raise the frequency, you empower that. The spiritual healers are here. I talk about that. I'm leading a meditation for people to go in and meet the spiritual healers because of the tampering of the DNA complex, the human DNA. The Sarian councils are here. And if you are interested in connecting on your own to understand more about yourself, you can call upon the High Spiritual Council, and they will connect with you. A meditation centering oneself and just speaking out loud, glory in the light of the Radiant One. I'm asking for guidance from the High Spiritual Council, and they're so excited to meet you and to be with you. So yeah, I'm looking at here my little notes here, and just recognizing your purpose, your gifts through your heart, and looking into the world and seeing what you manifest. Maybe you love children, and that's the connection. Maybe you're here to guide people out of trauma, which is what a lot of things that I do. But I just honor each and every one of you for your being present on this beautiful panel, and thank you, Axela and Alan.
Thank you, Celestine. Beautiful. Okay. Did everyone go around that question? Oh yeah, go ahead, Saryon. Yes, thank you.
Saryon, actually.
No. It's all good.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to share something that has been very much an accelerator for me, and it is that there's a kind of reciprocity that you can engage in with the earth. There's a way that the Mother Earth reciprocates when we do acts of service on her behalf and for her. And that synergy with the earth, with the plants, with the animals is a huge part of the ascension process. It's an incredible resource of sacred power that we are now remembering how to cultivate, and eventually that will become a planetary way of being, to cultivate sacred power and life force through our service to the earth and our synergy with the environment. I was in Bali some years ago, and there's this field at the center of Ubud, and it was always filled with trash, so much trash on this field. And there's a lot of trash in the streets as well. And I never saw anyone picking it up. And so on one of the last days that I was there staying in Ubud, I told my partner, I feel like we need to do some kind of a global cleanup project here. So we got some trash bags and some rubber gloves, and we stood on this one corner. It was the corner that was the most polluted with trash. and we said a little prayer to call in the energy of the new earth, to call in spirit, to call in grace, to be with us and walk with us as we were doing this sacred work. And as soon as we got down on the field, this group of French tourists showed up and they're like, oh, wow, are you doing a cleanup on this field? And they were excited to join. We hadn't even started, and our group already more than doubled in size. So they started picking up trash with us. And then all of the soccer teams that were playing on the field came over and joined us, and we cleaned the entire field together. And when I went back a couple years later, the field was still being kept clean, and they had also done improvements. They had created these new walkways around it. They had beautified it. And it felt like what we had called forth and anchored energetically into that space had taken root and had held. So it really felt like we participated in raising the vibration of that space. And it's right at the center of the whole city. So it felt really good to be a catalyst for what happened there. I share all of this because it's actually really symbolic of how I want us to start thinking about and speaking about the birth and restoration of the unified field of consciousness that is growing and strengthening in the world. The field is what sources the expansion of our inner senses. It's what activates our chakras. It's what connects us all together. And as that field is continuing to grow, it's like a new child that has just been born, the child of one humanity. So how do we treat a newborn child? Are we going to abuse that child the way that is taking place in all of these war zones on the planet? Putting fear into the fields? Or are we going to treat that newborn child with such love, speaking only words of love to that child, listening to the field, acknowledging the fields, loving the field, cultivating the fields? We can think of the field in the world almost like it is a garden. So how do we treat the garden? Are we going to water it? Are we going to pay attention to its needs? Are we going to allow the garden to teach us how to be good stewards of it? So there's a field present, and that field comes with all of the teachings that we need as human beings to remember how to care for, cultivate, learn from, and synergize with that field. And my work is all about generating that kind of a conversation globally, so that speaking about the field and learning how to heal ourselves through the field and to energize the field and to communicate telepathically through the field and do all sorts of wonderful things with our minds and consciousness through the field, that becomes a part of the global conversation. And that's what my work is about.
Wow. Thank you for cleaning the field.
Yeah, we need to do a lot more to clean up the field physically on the earth and, as an energy, and I would say also, just to finish, one of the most important things that we can do to actually strengthen and support and clear the field of darkness and duality is to refine the way that we speak, to speak words of love, to clear up our own languaging so that we are speaking inclusively and with equality in our consciousness. That supports the field, because the field actually is very connected with the gift of language. There's a connection between those two things that I'm going to be exploring with people in more of my work. But again, thank you, Alan, for hosting this with Washela and Neil, and so grateful to be here.
You're doing a workshop on Portal to Ascension, aren't you, coming up?
I'm going to be on the ET Races, Planets, and Technologies conference. And I'll be at, I do occasionally do just the one-off webinars. So I did one earlier this year. I probably will do another one before the end of the year. We'll see.
Great. Well, thanks for being here and sharing. Hey, Washela, I had a question, unless Neil wanted to jump in.
We do.
Okay.
Marilyn and Joy. Marilyn and Joy didn't go yet. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Marilyn. And Joy. Yes, please. Thanks for raising your hand.
We love what Saryon just said. I hope I said that right.
It's Saryon.
Saryon. Okay.
Thank you.
We love what you said because we really believe that words are very, very important and becoming even more so important. And we use a very simple tool that we immediately teach everybody, and it has to do with a bracelet. It's very practical, and it all comes down to awareness. You know, it's an inside job, as we like to say, and that it just comes down to the becoming aware of your negative programming, I'll say. And we use the bracelet. Do you want to explain the bracelet?
Well, the idea behind the bracelet is every time you have a negative thought about yourself or someone else, then you change the bracelet onto the other wrist. And they're stretchy bracelets, so they're really easy to change.
Or these, either one.
Yeah. And the idea is to be aware. You know, awareness is the first step to transformation. And the idea is to be aware of how many times you actually catch yourself in a negative thought, a negative habit, a negative pattern about yourself or someone else. And the objective is to wear it on the same wrist for 21 days, which means that you have broken that habit. And you know, because you're right.
But you can see 10 years later, we're still wearing the bracelet.
So we work on new habits all the time. You know, that's one of the things that we teach in spiritual happy hour is that we are the ones that are in control, that we take 100% responsibility for literally everything that happens in our life. And so many times that's, you know, when you talk to somebody that's been diagnosed with cancer or is having physical problems, or, you know, like I had an accident. Oh, I don't even call it an accident. I had a wreck with a giant trash can and spent a month in ICU and things. And
a near-death experience.
A near-death experience and intubated and all of that since I last saw you, Alan. And all of that, I created it somehow on some level. So it's difficult to tell people, well, you created those negative things, but on the same time, you did. And
well, did you learn something from it then?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You learned there were no angels.
I was so disappointed. I didn't see all the angels. I didn't see anything. I just heard the voice say, well, do you want to go on the other side or you want to stay here on Earth? And I'm like, I'm staying. I like Earth. But, you know, it's one of those things that when we see things that are outside of ourselves, we give them the credit, and everything, every program, every pattern, every experience that we would ever want, need, or desire is centered from within us to start with.
And we are the collective field. All of those feelings are just radiating out.
Exactly.
Does Adironda have, would Adironda have anything else to add to that, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. Sure. Let me just step aside for a moment. I may not make much sense afterwards, but I will now. So it is good day to you, huh? Oh, very good to see you. We are very close together. Yeah, very good to see each of you. It is so wondrous to see you again, dearest Alan and Washela. We see that energy and that frequency that you are radiating out. Yes, you are shifting the consciousness of this planet with the vibrational frequency that you are radiating. That is what someone said, that what your objective is to raise your vibrational frequency. And that is the key. That is the energy, the frequency that you are living on this new earth in. That is the frequency that you are living on this new experience. And that is a very big screen you've got there. It is like this big inch TV in front of us.
They can't see it.
They can't see. You cannot see that. Huh? So with that frequency, with that energy of what is happening, what you are actually doing is you are raising your vibration, and they are matching the ascended masters, the guides that are sort of out there in the ethers, asking for and expecting to connect with human. And as they connect with the human, then it merges together. So those aspects then come through you to assist with the consciousness of this planet. As you know, dearest Alan and Washela and the rest of the beings of light that are on this grouping here, you know that everyone has to wake up. Everyone has to be present. Everyone has to start where they are right here and then go beyond where they starting point to the evolution of humanity. So many times people have a tendency to start where they are and start basing all of their decisions on what happened in the past. Well, that does not make any sense to us because the past has already happened, done. No change can be possible there. But the future, that is where the shift of consciousness can appear. That is why people say that the back of the body is the past and the front of the body is the future. Well, and that is not true because the back of the body, you can't see where you're going. If you turn to the back, the front of the body, you can see everything. So that is actually your past. And the back of the body is your future because you cannot quite see around the corner. You cannot quite see that vision. And that is why there are so many light plurkers. Play plus work equals plurk because we don't like to work. And the light plurkers on this planet are actually acknowledging the bliss point of humanity. And as you are acknowledging the bliss point of humanity, you are indeed, take a deep breath,
And the blissipline.
and the blissipline of your fear, the blissipline of your ego, because your ego is just fear. Your fear is just ego. So that is that little voice that says, oh, don't go into the dark, Caroline, because the dark, there's bad heebie-jeebies there. Well, if there's bad heebie-jeebies in the dark, they are in the light as well. However, they cannot stand in the light. So you see, it is the energy that we are bringing to this space that you are the light, and everything and everywhere you go, there is light that is being emanated and shed on every energy that you are coming in contact with. Science has now proven that the field is 26 feet across. So every human or extraterrestrial or being of light that do not have physical bodies, that they are in that 26 field space of where your light is. So therefore, when you are connecting with that, you are expanding that light, and your light touches someone else's and sort of bumps into their sphere, and their sphere bumps into someone else's sphere. And before long, the evolution of the planet is that power-filled light planet. What we see so often with humans is they get so caught up in what is not happening. They get so caught up in the energy that they want to shift or change instead of just loving people right where they are and loving them into enlightenment. And because, fear will always tell you that it will keep you safe because it is your ego. But love will always say that you already are safe, so you don't ever have to worry about anything. And so in that energy, in that divine frequency, you are the way showers of this planet. And so we honor you and ask you to express that frequency of the love energy, and know that the other energy, just change your bracelet and it will eventually go away because it is just a habit for that energy. You see what we say, huh? Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Huh?
Makes sense to me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Wow. Hey, you okay, Marilyn?
I think they were ready for questions. I don't know. Yeah, I am. I'm just coming back to the present.
I just want to have one question for you. Was there a difference in channeling when you had that near-death experience? Did something shift in that other state?
Yes, actually it did. I actually died a couple of times on the operating table, and have conscious memory of when they asked me if I wanted to stay or go. After I came out of ICU, I was there a month, and after I came out of ICU, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to channel. I I had no idea. I knew that there were vast changes within me, and but I feel like the energy of Adironda is different, don't you think?
Yeah.
The energy is a much more gentle energy when dealing with the human form. I think that you know, all the time in the hospital, I couldn't speak because I was intubated, and I kept saying, "Why is this happening?" And they said, I kept hearing, "You know, don't even worry about that right now. You just focus on healing and watch everything unfold beautifully." And it truly has been, because what happens is I think that, you know, my even being present gives people hope, and it inspires people that to overcome all adversities, that the human body, I mean, the doctors told me that I would never be off oxygen, that I would always be on 24 hours a day oxygen, and I would have to, and obviously I'm not, because we are actually in control of our body, our mind, our energy. And I think Adironda was in the council, the members of the council, they have been in human form, most of them. And so they kind of understood that. Adironda was like, what in the world is all this? And but I think that the Adironda has become a kinder, gentler energy, and was definitely much more. And it was fascinating whenever I started channeling while I was still on oxygen 24/7. Adironda, I didn't need the oxygen while I was channeling. My oxygen level stayed up normal and everything. So Adironda didn't need the oxygen. My belief is that I needed the oxygen. And that's when I thought, well, you know, it's still my body when I'm channeling. So if they don't need the oxygen, why would I? And so that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, you know, Adironda tells me quite often that they use the vessel. They call Adironda the vessel. They call me the joy. That they use the vessel and myself as an example. And I think Marilyn was literally an example, because of the oxygen. Having somebody wear oxygen on stage is a very physical sign. And she was at an event at 9,000 feet in last October, 6 months after this happened. And she had oxygen, and people, it gives them hope. They don't have to believe what the doctor said, that they have a lot more control than they've been told.
Wow. Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing that intimate story, Marilyn. I mean,
sure.
I know. Yes. So, Shayla, I wanted to ask also about, you know, since we do have some star seeds and connection to those realms, I just wanted to explore those realms with some people. Is that okay? Is that okay with you, Shayla?
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so Delisa, you said you also talk to these beings that are coming in. I'll ask everyone, where are we at this time in our history? What are they saying to you? Because I hear lots of different things from lots of different starseeds and ETs and hybrids. So what are you getting about now?
Yes, thank you, Alan. I appreciate the question. When they show up in sessions with clients, it's hopeful. They are making themselves more known. I feel intuitively like they are preparing us for perhaps more public visitations, or ones that people can't deny any longer. Because it's hard to believe, but there are people out there that don't believe in this still, that are in this 3D. And I feel very strongly from messages I've received from my spirit team and during channelings that we will be experiencing more robust visitations. And also, lately I've been seeing a big flash of light, and it feels like we are right up against a major shift in frequency, where I feel even in the next few months, the next few years, we will look back and go, wow, I can't believe how quickly the energy has shifted. And I believe that the galactic beings will be a part of that shift in frequency. So what a time to be alive. I feel so blessed to be in this forum right here, right now, experiencing what we've been going through, but also what's about to come.
Is there anything we can do to prepare ourselves?
Keep an open mind, keep an open heart. I think journaling and meditation are some of the low-hanging fruits that you can use to contact. I think that even if you get pen and paper and say, okay, my spirit team, the universe, high beings of frequency and light, what do you want me to know today? And then step out of the way. I think so many of us block messages from galactic beings, from higher power and frequency because of fear, because we're afraid of what we might hear, what we might experience. But if we focus on the heart and come from a place of an expansive heart, I think we can all receive messages from beings.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I know, Celestine, this has been your life's work in a way, preparing for and I'll get to Sarian, but this is your focus for the last, couple of decades. So what's coming through now, and what do you have to share?
Thank you, Alan. I love doing this with you and Neil.
Thank you. We've done this a lot over the last 2 years, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Bringing out the message, The first thing I would like to share is that I was told back in 2010 that this is the time of the reintegration of the star kin and the earth kin. They call us kin. We are in relations. They see us all as galactic consciousness and a biological unit. And they relate to us in that way. There is the Simpereth, they call it, or divine plan. And the Radiant One is now shifting the expression of Earth to be once again, because we were before the final floods, 20,000 years ago, and then the veil dropped 10,500 years ago, from what I understand, what I know, where there was a separation so that the interference in, interfering with the humanoid species, those galactics in the humanoid form, was less. By less interference, we represent as one species a tone. We represent Earth's tone, and that's why it's really important. There's a lot of distortion in the field. The electromagnetic field is the group mind. There's a lot of distortion, a lot of programming. So with the Simpereth or divine plan, they began to offer tools for processing your psychic field, so that you could get rid of the trauma, so people could process through the pain and the grief, and thereby lifting and clearing the field. And as you process through, it's like an alchemical process, the purification comes, and we rise as lotus out of the muck and the gluck of what is happening. So what's happening now is that we're in the chrysalis, and all that hidden stuff has come to the surface. And we have the illusion of war. We have the illusion of, the pandemic, and everything that's happening is a part of the illusion coming to the surface so we can look at it in reality. And do we want to keep it? What do we want to do? The tools are coming in to process and heal the body, those people who were damaged or harmed by, this pandemic that came through. The help is there. And as we look into the traumas of humanity, some people call it the darkness, I say the non-beneficial effects. We have the leadership that has infiltrated the reversed ones, who are here to control and to basically, depopulate the earth. So we have this to look at, but yet the timeline of evolution, of the raising of the consciousness of the unified field is coming into play. And we're seeing it in people awakening to a different thought process. I have to connect us to the Earth and its frequency rising. When we were, here's an image of the Sheshata of the Milky Way, we were at the bottom of the Milky Way. We do an ecliptic, our planet. And when 2012 came, we were in the middle of the Milky Way. We took 20 years to get across that hole. And as we rose up above, we are now in the upper part of the Milky Way. We're receiving more gamma, more neutrons, more energy, and that is activating the right side of the brain hemisphere and allowing for more intuition, clairvoyance, clairaudience. People are seeing more as the frequency, and you can look at the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance, 7.83, is now rising up to 300 hertz, and it went up to 1,000. As it's rising and shifting, then we as humans began to interface with another dimensional field. And these other multidimensional fields is where some of our interstellar beings reside. So we're able to see, oh, look, that looks like a ship. We're able to see more. We're able to contact, there are more walk-ins. I think in 1987, when we had the harmonic conversion, there may have been 20,000 people on the Earth. We now have, through unified.com, the places where we register to meditate, over 100 million. And so think about that, just in that short period of time from the 80s to now. I have been filming and archiving humanity, and you, Alan, as well, the movement of the consciousness awakening. So as the frequency rises, we're closer to that dimensional field and we're able to speak. Now, working through the gunk, we become the chrysalis and we are butterflies. The ultimate goal is galactic consciousness, galactic planet. And they are taking their time to interface, to come out and land the ships and say, we are here. There's a lot to work through. You have the secret space program that turned on their microwave weapons because they wanted to claim the Earth. But of course, that's not happening because we know, take a breath, that's who controls the Earth, the radiant one. Hello, excuse me. But they are patiently waiting. The doorways and the gateways have always been open. I'm a medicine wheel keeper and was trained by the Arapaho medicine women when I was 7 years old, Ruby Sky. And she taught me that, the stellar people come when you call. Certain people are designated to be ambassadors and to work with them. And through my inner psyche, I later became an ambassador. I am an ambassador of the High Spiritual Council, the Galactic Star Federation, and the Star Confederation. Those are the ones that I work with. Among the doves, the Christ, the Mary Magdalenes, and all of that. They are present and they are available. And you're seeing more and more as we raise our frequencies, that part of our synapses opens up and gives communication abilities, right? And so I just want to say that the unfoldment of the reintegration is well on its way. It will happen if you need to go to the inner cities. And I've taken people to the gateway and then they say, I'm not ready, But think about yourself. What they say is, think about yourself. What is it that you need to understand? Is it free energy? Is it how to help the earth? And if you need to go into the inner cities to understand that, they will take you there. There's no block between us. It's your desire, your need, and your purpose and function. So right now, I'll just end with within the next 5 years, we are probably going to have open connection. So that's what I want to say.
Open contact. Open
contact. The government is always doing this, alien attack. But
yes,
they will never.
Yes.
And so they backed away when they turned on the weapons of the microwaves. they actually had to go, and the Galactic Star Federation had to go and upgrade their ships. And they are back now. Their ships are amazing. And they said they will never step into differentiation. They call that differentiation is war, what we call war. They will never take over the planet. They've been here forever. And so don't worry. It's up to us.
Well, thank you, Celestine. Sarian, do you get a similar message, or are you getting something else?
You know, this is such a great question, and I honestly have way too much to say. This would take some time to actually lay out my thoughts on this. It's a little too complex to very quickly answer. What I will say, though, is that I've spent so many years, decades really, making these connections with all of our galactic colleagues in other realms. And now that all those channels are open, one of the things that they've been telling me consistently, and I get this a lot from the Arcturians, is that if we want to grow closer to them and receive more of their energy and be in more connection with them, then we need to deepen in our connection to the earth. They will join us in that focus because they want to empower us to move into true stewardship and guardianship of the earth in a way that is more expansive to our consciousness, actually, than what most people are living or even considering. To really move into stewardship and guardianship of the earth, that's an expansion of our chakras and our fields and our consciousness that expands into the whole planetary field quite profoundly. So I feel that, yeah, there's a lot of contact going on. You know, we could talk about the many different aspects of the spectrum that we are having contact with and how that may play out over time. But the ones that we should be the most interested in having contact with are the ones that are kind of holding back and waiting until we are ready spiritually and consciously to meet them as equals through a mutual acknowledgement of oneness, and to join the part of the community in that part of the spectrum that loves and protects living worlds and sees the connection between living worlds as something that needs to be cultivated and activated and restored, so that we have a real field connecting many different living worlds together that is being held in place by a multi-planetary community of spiritual guardians of these worlds. So I'd love to explore this topic more with you sometime.
Let's do an interview about that. I
would love to. But I am going to have to go and bow out a little early. Okay. So I just want to thank you guys so much for hosting this. And I look forward to exploring more.
How can people find you? Just give us your information.
Sure. Yeah. Saryon.com. Just my name, Saryon. You can find me there on the website. And also you can look me up on YouTube. Just put in Saryon and you'll find my YouTube channel. And there's definitely some things there that you might want to take a look at.
Is that your ET name, Saryon?
Saryon is actually an angelic name. I do have some ET names that I have as well. I don't share them very often, but I get called by a lot of different things.
Okay, a lot of people call you a lot of things. Okay.
But I will say that Saryon is actually a name that was used anciently in Atlantis. So I actually have an Atlantean past life that also went by that name, even though it's an angelic name.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Thank you.
We'll see you guys.
Okay. And Marilyn and Joy and your friend there, Marilyn, your higher consciousness friend, Rhonda, do they have anything to say about what's happening on the ET spectrum?
Yes. Adironda has brought in the Galactic Council, and the Galactic Council is all species, all of the 12 root races of extraterrestrials that are working to communicate as one, as in a unified field. And they have channeled in the Galactics, and the Galactics have indeed asked for our help. Not all members of the council are allowed to speak or communicate. The lower vibrational ones are allowed to be present, but not necessarily allowed to communicate. And the Galactic Council, they've asked for our help to instill love in their energy so they can learn from that. And they've asked that they've said that they are now showing themselves to humans a little more regularly, and but that they must be held in safety before they would actually show themselves completely to all of the planet. And that the
Which beings are you talking? Which beings are those you're talking about?
It's a council that represents the Intergalactic Federation, the Saturn Command, the Vegan Command, Andromedan Command, several of the galactic races from this galaxy and other galaxies as well. And so that's the council that have spoken through me and Adironda. Their energy is very much different, and they are looking to come to Earth in a peaceful, cohesive way to help us with our technology, as they already have, and that we would help them with their evolution of the human emotion. They seem to be a little fascinated by the emotions that humans carry, because many of the galactic races have evolved, not all of them, but they've evolved beyond that emotion of love, because they thought it was a vibration that was not necessary. And now they're finding it is necessary, and that otherwise there's extinction in their future. And so that's what they're learning from us, as we are learning other things from them as well.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that. I mean, I know some people have to go. I guess we'll wrap up, but we'll do can we hear a little ET poem by Neil, and then we'll wrap up? Let's just do that. Neil, are you still with us? There you are.
Yeah.
All right. Unmute. I know you have some beautiful words you've put together, because I've heard them about, star races and ETs and what's happening. And I love the fact that Neil makes it an art form. It's a communication, but it's also, art talks to our higher mind, our subconscious awareness. So when it comes through this way, I think it's another form of messaging. So yeah, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So I put 3 poems together just to kind of funnel it into, this whole experience that we're going through right now. I'm going to share my screen for this one so you can read along. And the poems are fragmentation. So we're going to talk about the original fractalization from source. Then we're going to go into one of the seedings of humanity, the Prism of Lyra. And then we'll close out with rejoining the Galactic Federation.
Great.
Well, let's all just take a moment and center ourselves before I get into this. I invite you all just to get comfortable. Just take a few breaths with me. On your next exhale, let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Deep inhale. Let it out. Just finding yourself in the present moment. Another deep inhale through the nose. Let it all go. Embracing this moment. Embracing your breath. And deep inhale. And then let it out with this little sigh, everybody. Little sigh. Ah. So let's go through the cosmos with the journey through the spoken word. Fragmentation. The void. In the beginning, there were no words, no concept, no winning, no place, no time, no description, no label, no finishing, until awareness became conscious of itself. Separation from the source, no east, no west, no south or north. Not to mention there never existed a dimension or ascension or physical lessons. There was only the 0 point. There was no Christ to anoint. Singularity, energy, frequency, raised vibrationally, paradoxically into limitation of what only the 5 senses can see. No linearity, no anarchy, no galaxies, no nebulae, no jobs, no nature, no materialism, and no political lies, until darkness finally fragmented from the light, using free will to see through the night. The darkness. I take the anxiety pill full of fright, in my bed insecure from the conspiracy that might take over my mind, control me with a chip inside, scared and full of fear. That is the reason why we are here, to the star system of Arcturus. I stare and recite my cosmic prayers, self-empowered, the fabric of victim consciousness I tear. The light. You see, everyone? The destination has already been chosen. It's the journey that counts. Every day we transcend, no doubt, living in the now, realizing it's all a projection of a co-creation of our own subconscious mind, channel energy through the heart, remembrance of the divine, take apart my ego and restart my life in any moment. I'm going home, traveling across the black intergalactic ocean. I took the psychedelic potion and now I'm awoken. To the streets we take the spoken word. Fly high, levitate the God inside. I'm free like a bird, cosmic oneness integrating in my being, a full spectrum being. In alignment with the purity confined in, ranges of frequencies inhibit what we are seeing. I shift what I choose to believe in, fuel my light body. For the ether, I'm fiending. For the ether, I'm fiending. For the ether, I'm fiending. The Prism of Lyra. I rhythmically scratch records. Visionary mass appeal, holistically heal the resonance of a presence, allow yourself to feel. Fragmentation from source, self wishing to experience was all from one thought of what if? Could I be this? The polar opposite. Through the prison we came, created a prison of the brain. Enslaved, you don't think so? There are no victims in this show. We're all playing a role. Ego, learn to let it go. Let the soul flow from the crown to the root. I'm letting you know it's only conceptual. Experience allows the wisdom to grow. Embrace this ignorance that will spread from the elitist control. When the Sarians descended into this density, the Lyrans came, looking for a place to incarnate and name a species and a race to hold the souls of they who are interdimensional entities, integration being the third point, anointing the Christ consciousness sacred geometry to protect the kids of the universe being only one galaxy. Moving closer to the center by raising our frequency, I frequently see infinite possibilities. A contractual planet with the masses on their knees. The snake in the Bible will be found to be the positivity. Polarized by the Syrians who knew about free will, gave us the choice of the blue or red pill. The Lyrans were enraged. They wanted to keep us ingrained in oneness and fifth dimensional grace. Instead, into darkness we came. So that one day we can transcend and regain remembrance of our place in this intergalactic plane of extraterrestrials, just to name a few. Arcturians, Pleiadians, and Syrians, who genetically mutated early man too, creating perfect embodiment of who they are, using Stargate souls coming through stars, entering the womb to embark on a journey through the dark to once again spark and ignite the flame. Rearrange the neural networks in your brain. To achieve enlightenment, the universe is full of abundance. Together we do the cosmic dance. Shiva, the interdimensional manifestation of man, extraterrestrial incarnates. We're here to transform the land. We're here to transform the land. We're here to transform this land. And now it's time to rejoin the Galactic Federation. And then there was one. Life untangled, rhyme is undone. Life source drained, vanity explained. Following those with fame, always fight and complain, but the answer remains the same. Control with borders untamed, locked up and enslaved, riding the quantum wave. Through awareness we are saved. Ascend and fade away and live for today, and don't play games or get erased from this place. One face, unity of race, consciousness explained, end of human reigns. But galactic alliance remains. A true cosmic place amongst the stars in space, aware now in case my reincarnation will take my next life away. So ascend and pray, not for monetary gains, but an escape from superficial ways. Life is just a phase that one day be replaced by pure energy, an entirely new intergalactic race.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. I like reading the words with you. It goes deeper, you know. Thank you, Neil. That's really a beautiful mark on your creativity.
Thanks, brother.
Oh, wow. Oh, and we have Ashana joining us. Thank you, Ashana, for being here. Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you for having me. Welcome to my ballroom.
We should go bowling sometime. Yeah. But tell us about yourself. I mean, we're just wrapping up, but I mean, I'm happy you're here, but I don't know if people want to stay for a little while longer. We just have all day, so that's fine.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to be here at 12:30, so that's when I popped in.
Well, where are you?
I'm
What's time
in
zone?
Arizona time zone.
Oh, that's the problem.
Oh, the times didn't get connected, wired in.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm
Are
sorry
you-
I missed it.
No, you didn't miss it because here you are. But do you want to share your information about Ascension and Alchemy and what work you do? Are you in Sedona?
I
No.
live about 20 miles southeast of Sedona, yes. In
What town is that?
Well, it's
in which-
many towns, but the town that I live in is in Cornville. I know. But
No, I love Cornville.
right next
Patrick
to
Flanagan used to live.
Drop off.
Patrick
Verde
Flanagan
Valley.
was in Cornville. Yes,
Oh,
yes, the Verde Valley.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful.
I know. I'll be out there. I'll be out there next week, probably. So,
Well, then come
anyway,
and say
share
hello.
with us. I will say hello. I'll go to Cornville to visit. Yeah. But share what your work is and how it plays into what Shayla was doing all week at the summit and is continuing to do. But what's your gifts that you share with the planet?
Well, I feel incredibly blessed because I get to play to help people activate the crystalline body through healing sound. That is exactly what I was put on this earth to do. And again, I feel extremely blessed to be able to do that. What I work with is to help my students, to help those people I serve through my music, to help us raise the vibrational frequency so that our collective consciousness can envision and imagine a new way of being. And that happens in everything that I do, all the ways that I work with that.
Marilyn Harper and Joy Roby.
Wow, that's great. No, I'll go out and interview you about that when I'm out there. Okay.
Oh, please do. Please do. I'll get you my information. We can do that.
Yes, definitely. But could you want to give us a little sample of your activations of people's frequencies,
Oh,
like with your bowls or your music or whatever?
Well, I
You
don't
do?
have my music. I mean, my music is many, many recordings. People can go to Amazon, Spotify, Apple Music, my website, soundofashana.com. There are many, many albums out there and a lot more coming out this year. So I've been doing this since 2006. And I've been a musician for 50 years. So, but I'm happy to share.
For 50 years, you said? 50 years?
Years, I know. Yeah. For real.
What?
For real.
Why did you decide to
Not
do this?
exaggerating. What's that?
No, I believe you, whatever. But why did you decide to do this form of music?
Well, it happened like magically. You know, the way that let me just get closer to my mic.
Yeah,
The way that
thank
I explain it to people is that, you know, there are times in your life, I'm sure everybody in here had that experience, where you reach this place where you are at a crossroads. And that's exactly what happened to me. I reached a place, I was at a crossroads. Someone that I loved dearly and was a mentor for me called me up and said, you know, have you ever heard of crystal singing bowls? I said no. This was back in 1999, 22 years ago. And I got one instantly, sight unseen, came to my house, opened it up, put the bowl on the kitchen table in my home. At that time, I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I tapped the side of the bowl. I began to play it. And all of a sudden, the very first thought I had was that light had come to live in my house. And the second thought I had is, one day I'm going to put these into music. 3 weeks later, I had 7 bowls. Now I live in a room with 100. So I know I don't live in this room, but this room is in my house. My music, my piano, my instruments, and all of these amazing consciousness bowls. So that was that's what happened.
It's not just a hobby for you; it's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
It is. So when you do a lot of people just play the bowl. I mean, I've heard thousands of them, but are you doing something different, I think, with the bowls that other people aren't doing?
Yes, yes. I'm actually considered a pioneer in the world of crystal bowl sound healing. I've been doing it for so long. I bring a background to the bowls, which really had never been done before, of a very high level of professional musical accomplishment. And I worked with, in 2006, I started to make my first album. I went into the studio to make my first album with Thomas Barkey, who some people may know of. He has produced almost all of Sonatam Kaur's work. He's worked with Seal. He's known in the sacred vocal chant music. He's one of the top producers in that. Well, I met him very serendipitously, and we immediately connected, and we have not stopped working together since. So we've had 16, 17 years together of doing music and creating this sound. So it is this fusion of phenomenal beauty and a very high level of artistic expertise combined with sound healing. And so we brought those two pieces together, and that's what happened.
Wow. Well, thank you. So do a quick sample. I know the guests are leaving, but I just want to hear a little bit, and then maybe we'll wrap it up the whole thing. So do you want to just do a quick sample?
I will send people out on sound. How's that?
Sure. Well, some people have already left, but that's okay.
That's
She also gives away on the Alchemy of Ascension Summit. Ashana's free gift is a soundtrack, so they can get a free soundtrack for going there.
Oh. I didn't get to say goodbye to people, like Marilyn and Celestine, but tell them thank you for being here, and it's been a really great couple of hours with you, Sheila, and thank you, Delisa, for sticking in there. And okay, we're going to hear some. I just thought while people are here, we might as well talk to them, right? I mean,
well, for those people that are here, of course. So these are just for the energetics that you've had. This is some frequency to activate the upper crown and to connect with the intergalactic energies. So, let's see if you can hear.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you were able to kind of complete the day with this, and kind of like that's the vibration is what needs to be said. So, Washela, thank you for your friends visiting here in the Zoom.
Well, thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just wrap it up and tell people how to find the summit and all these beautiful people that are joined us. And
Yeah, so the Alchemy of Ascension Summit Season 5, all of these speakers that we saw today in both sessions are on it. Actually, we have 29 speakers on this one. It's just been a power-packed, information-full, heartful experience sharing this summit, and it's free registration at washelasananda.com/AOA5. So please do come and join us. Many of the speakers, it's an email. It's sent by email day by day until March 18th, but there will be a replay at the end so you can still see the people that you've missed. And I really just want to thank you, Alan, and Neil for hosting, and all of the speakers. It has been an amazing panel. I had no idea we'd go this long. I've been on for almost 4 hours, I think now. And it's just, my heart just feels so full. And ultimately, I just want to bring it all back to, the question that you asked and how to make contact, and what to make of the coming contact. It's all within our hearts. And when we're able to tune into our heart center, make the contact there first, everything is available to us through the heart. And there's no fear in that space when you're authentically connecting through the heart center. So that is what I'd love to leave people with. I appreciate everyone so much. Thank you again, Alan, for being such a generous host.
well, I loved it. I learned a lot. I met a lot of new friends, and I just felt expanded throughout these last Ashana. We just did 4 hours, but it's.
Oh my God, I am so sorry. This is why I never make appointments myself. My assistant always does it. I lose.
No, it's okay. It was the perfect way to end a perfect day. So it wouldn't have been more perfect, right? Because it was what it was. And thank you, Delisa. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Spiritandspark.com. And Ashana, what's your website?
Soundofashana.com.
Sound of Ashana. Okay.
Sound of Ashana.
I definitely will be in Sedona. We can do an interview because the bowls lose some of their resonance through the Zoom. So it's like, it's better with like a regular microphone there to get the sound. And
Actually, when I know I'm going to play live, we have a whole different setup. So we actually can make it work on Zoom, but it has to have a different setup than just what we do now.
Good.
So we totally can do that.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you. We'll be in touch, and thank you, Washela.
Thank you, Alan.
It's been a really great day. I hope some people didn't mind that we just went over, but
I think whoever had to leave left. And Ashana, I'm so glad you made it to give us that beautiful sound exit, the grand finale. And Delisa, thanks for hanging in there, even though we went over time.
Right. And thanks everyone for watching online. I mean, we had like a couple of hundred people on the YouTube, so I'll put everyone's emails, websites in there, and they could follow up, and definitely look for the summit. That will be an addition. Everyone's speaking on the summit for at least 1 hour on the summit there.
Everybody's got about 45 minutes to an hour, and then everyone gives a free gift. So it's worth it just for that. Amazing free gifts. Why not?
Right. Actually, I'm giving a free gift of the introduction to my book, Making Contact. So when you sign up, do they have to ask for the gift, or you just automatically give the gift?
Everybody has links. So if somebody wants the gift, they can request it through the link, or however the individual speaker set it up.
Great. Well, thanks again. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, everyone online. And we'll do it again, maybe at some point soon. Thanks.
Thanks.